So listen, man, I'm scrolling and I see this right here, man, from a creator I'd never heard of, never seen. But the thumbnail intrigued me. So did the title. I'm like, let's see what we got here. And it starts off with him basically talking about the white guy who was going viral, hugging people, and then the black people rejected him and stuff like that. I plan on doing a video like that. But after I amassed a certain amount of clips, it went past my, what do I want to call it? My limit as far as how many clips I'm going to put in a video. So I was like, nah, we going to scrap this. But he's done the hard work for us, the heavy lifting. So we going to watch this, see what he has to say, comment on it.
So recently I've been running across these videos by this content creator who goes by Grant Byer. And his content mainly revolves around going around and asking people for hugs in an attempt to spread positivity. He even has a clothing brand called Spread Love Brand. And so in one of these videos where he's going around asking people for hugs in an effort to spread positivity, we get this clip.
Excuse me, bro. Excuse me. I've had a bad day. Can I have a hug? Oh, have a good day.
And these aren't from the same video, but I was also able to get these clips.
Excuse me, bro. I've had a bad day. Can I have a hug? Have a good day. Excuse me, bro. I've had a bad day. Can I have a hug? Oh, have a good day. Excuse me. I've had a bad day. Can I have a hug? Nah. Come on, man. Thank you, man. Y'all have a good day, man.
And so following that first clip I showed you, Twitter basically went on a frenzy accusing black men of being homophobic, having fragile masculinity, trying to put on a tough guy act, and basically just assassinating our character. And the sad part about all of this is that most of the negative comments talking down on black men are coming from black women. So not only do we deal with hate from other races and ethnicities, but we also deal with it from our own women.
Yeah, but we know this. We know this. We know that when it comes to this shit, as far as just everything that's going on all over social media, the biggest haters of black men are black women, man. And listen, if you're a black woman listening to this and you don't hate, that's good for you. You know the truth. Look around. If you're a black woman, you got a bunch of other black women on your social media. You already know. Some of them is saying that, oh, dudes is gay, oh, like all types of stuff on a daily basis. But let's continue.
The most disappointing thing is that the initial reaction wasn't to try and take a deeper look as to why they were acting that way. It was to point out their flaws in a way that wasn't constructive at all. And honestly, it's a little bit disappointing because black women and men share a similar traumatic background. And black women know, or at least they should know, all the trauma and deep-seated racism that black men have had to experience. And that's one of the reasons why I appreciate that some black men took the time to voice their opinions on the issue. So as we go through some of these replies left by black men, I'm gonna go ahead and give you my perspective and comment on some of the things that they said. As black men, we're taught not to be affectionate. I haven't hugged anyone in 5 years. As a black man, I can definitely relate to this to an extent. I wouldn't say I haven't hugged anyone in 5 years, but I definitely resonate with growing up in an environment, community, household that wasn't very affectionate. Whether it's dads who grew up on that street or military lifestyle, so they're super macho and hyper masculine. This video is literally a real life example of what it would look like if you asked for a hug in a lot of black households, especially in the hood.
I love you, granddad. Give me a hug, man.
Oh, man, get on with me here, because I brought you some damn... Nigga, you are crazy as hell.
I can't get a hug.
You don't be hugging on no player. You can't put that on the internet or boss ass nigga like me hugging on a something. What's wrong with you, boy?
You my granddaddy, man.
I can't help it, boy. You better act like you goddamn real.
I got
Don't
you.
know something running in our family. You gonna put it on that. Look at you, something. You ain't hugging on that granddaddy like you a little boy. You better boss up.
Now listen, this is true, and I'm gonna break down something very quick. So when it comes to my generation, we'll say we're millennials, right? I'm gonna give you two things. Number one, I seen a post the other day that says millennial dads spend more than 2 times the amount of time. I forget what it was, like a higher percentage of time with their kids than the generation of dads before them, whatever it was, boomers, like Gen fucking Y, whatever the fuck it was, but previous generations. So I could give you an example, and I'm going to put it on the screen real quick.
Hang out with your family and the juice that would...
Keep talking. You getting sad?
Oh, damn.
Why you getting sad, son? My son is really in tune with his emotions, bro. I'm telling you, he a real emotional kid.
Nah, I don't need mine. I'm gonna get mine.
Make you sad.
Soon.
Copy.
You miss your pop-up or something? Want to do one with Kai? It's okay, bro. It's okay to cry, son. Real men cry. You don't know how to do a speech? Yes, you do. Believe, son.
That's that beat.
You know how to do anything you put your mind to.
See, I want you to know something. The affection that he showed his son right there, that is some relatively new shit if we're talking about the general populace of the black community. Me being honest, me knowing what it is, me actually seeing it. Even then, you see guys who I have no connection to on the screen. He's hugging, displaying, and kissing his son. Hugging and kissing. He's telling him the real men cry. He's being real affectionate with his son. Now, this guy that you see on the screen, or that you've seen on the screen, that's G Herbo. He is a gangster rapper, but he is not just a regular gangster rapper. He's a Chicago gangster rapper from a actual gang, and he's around actual gang members, actual, more than likely, killers, allegedly, because he raps about that shit all the time. He's rapped about shooting people himself, and if you know how that Chicago shit go, like, yeah. So dude is really a rough dude for real. He is really gangster. But at least I believe, because the rap shit, motherfuckers be frauds the whole time on some 6ix9ine shit. Bare minimum, he's around real gangsters and he come from a place full of gangsters and he was a gangbanger for real. So that's bare minimum. But all of that, like right there, this is supposed to be a hard guy, but he is very affectionate with his son. And the reason that I say that is because if you look at the contrast between him, young dude, and this older gentleman right here, the grandfather. The grandfather is talking about, motherfucker, don't hug me, don't touch me. You gonna put it on the internet and I'm a boss, nigga. Like, that is how older generations of black men are. They didn't show much affection to black boys. And honestly, like, with most black men who have their dad in their life and they're millennials, like, if you go and try to hug your dad, that shit is probably, even then, fuck trying to hug your dad. Like, when is the last time you've hugged your dad? Can you even remember hugging your dad past, your childhood? Like, past 10 years after you turned 10, do you remember hugging your dad ever? The answer is more than likely no. And then you have a lot of people, we got that whole issue where, single parent households, it's a lot of those. But listen, if a man can't hug his own dad and he has been raised to think that's soft, why would he be open to hugging another man? The most that we do is dap hugs. Like, we do a handshake and you hug on the handshake. That's the most that we do. We do not do two-hand open hugs with our friends, as far as male friends, or, older male relatives in your family. That's just how it is. And we could unpack how that is or why that is another day. But right now, just know that in our community, hugs are reserved for babes. That's just the way it is. Like dude mentioned, we have a very rough history, especially in this country. Let's continue.
Here's another video with the same behavior.
Oh, man, get your hand off me, man. Don't be hugging on me, man. Don't you, hey, dude, who's your goddamn hand? Go ahead on with that fake ass goddamn. Anyway, that's a damn woman knickers anyway. Bruh,
notice how any sort of affection is just seen as something so foreign. And just to put it into perspective, this is a grandson and his grandfather. So imagine a stranger. I bet their reaction doesn't seem so crazy now, does it? And then we have single moms who try to toughen their sons up to prepare them for their environment by showing them little to no affection. I can't show a majority of this video because YouTube guidelines, but just know that the way this mother treats her son is disgusting. So as you can see, she drags the boy while cussing at him and trying to discipline him. And as the video goes on, you see her refer to him as an N-word and literally abuse him in front of his teachers. Now, luckily, CPS did step in once this video went viral on social media, and he and his siblings were taken by them. But this just goes to show you that as black boys, sometimes we don't even get that affection from our maternal figures. And let's be honest, as a kid, that's like the first person you expect affection from.
Now, the funny thing about this criticism that's coming from black women is I'm sure a lot of them are mothers. And when it comes to most black mothers, if we keeping it real, most of them are hard on their kids, period, point blank. The ones that aren't, they let them rip and run and do whatever they want. And those be the ones that turn out crazy, being honest. So it's like being in a position as a mom where you have to be an enforcer, not where, you know, okay, there's an option to go and see your dad or nothing like there's no option for that. You got to be the enforcer. Like you're not going to be able to give the kid the nurturing the way that it's supposed to be done. And I'm going to be honest, even in 2-parent households, the moms still be going crazy as far as black women sometimes. And you got to remember, it comes back down to the history that I mentioned. And even outside of the history, that was just a culture in America, like whoopings and beatings and things of that nature. So the parenting was really hard. You know, they got this thing called gentle parenting. No. This was rough parenting. And a lot of people from the older generations, including my generation, think that that is just like the gospel. They think that is 100% the way to go. I think certain things should be done within moderation. But like, you know, we did, like, compared to what's going on now, my generation dealt with some extreme stuff. But the funny thing is, if you have, you know, parents that were born in like, you know, the 60s, probably even 70s, 50s, anything like that, I guarantee you the way that they got whooped was way crazier than what you've seen and experienced growing up. But let's continue.
And then we got young black boys who were exposed to the streets at a very young age, a place where you're taught not to show any affection. There's literally a YouTube channel that has a whole segment where rappers talk about when they jumped off the porch, meaning when they hopped into the streets or started getting involved in street life.
So at what age would you say you jumped off the porch then in South Memphis?
I was just 6, playing with sticks. For real.
At what age would you say you jumped off the porch?
Probably like 5th going to 6th grade. But I always been in the hood bad. I always been a badass just all my life though. But 5th going to 6th, that's when I like had my first little gun and fuck these guys.
That's pretty young, man. And you got shot when you were a teenager? Is that right?
Yeah, I got shot when I was 15.
Oh wow. Yeah. So when would you say you jumped off the porch then?
Yeah, I like 13, start smoking and chilling, trying to make some money type shit.
At what age would you say you jumped off the porch?
15. I've been doing the bad when I was like 6, young, real young, doing the bad.
What age did you officially jump off the porch?
13, 12, 13. Threw a little bad. I still was playing sports and shit, but
yeah.
I walked across the street, you feel me? Where I'm from, it's 2 different sides of the project, you feel me? My grandma and my aunts and them lived on one side where the playground is at. Back in the day, that's where we used to hang at, like the kids of my age. But across the street is where the older people was at. Once I turned like 12, 13, I wasn't trying to hear that. So I used to just go across the street. That's when one of my friends, so a lot changed for me. So that's when I feel like I jumped off the porch.
When exactly would you say you jumped off the porch?
Right, I ain't on the porch, fool. I've been gambling since 4th grade.
At what point do you remember you fully jumping off the porch?
Really like in the streets doing shit, about 13, 14.
What age would you say you officially like jumped off the porch?
I was experiencing life when I was like 10 years old. Like I'm from the project, so I was outside.
At what age would you say you jumped off the porch then?
Probably like 13.
Did you have much guidance out there when you first jumped off?
I really just doing what the older bro was doing.
So at what age would you say you jumped off the porch?
I didn't really start jumping off the porch till 10th grade.
Okay.
10th, 11th grade, I started really getting like trying to get some money.
At what point would you say you jumped off the porch?
Young, I've been outside. I've been outside since like this height, like 5.
These are just a few of the reasons why black boys and as a result black men aren't as affectionate.
This kind of gave me a different perspective because what I would like to see after those questions are asked, when did you jump off the porch? I want to know what your family life was like. I want to know where your dad was at specifically. But outside of that, let me paint a picture very quickly of how inaffectionate most street dudes are. A good chunk of them, even though I just showed you the G Herbo clip where he is affectionate with his son. King Von, who is from the same city, Chicago, and who allegedly, they got all these documentaries on YouTube about how many people he allegedly killed and etc. A porn star had a interview the other day, and she said that this cat hit her up before he died, the day before he died. And guess what the message was? You trying to get hit, white girl? And she said, yeah. If you from the hood, you know that when it comes to these guys, a lot of them try to just skip the line. They don't try to, smooth the chicks. They don't try to game them up too crazy. They just come out and let their intentions be known immediately. And a lot of them ain't like lovey-dovey. They just trying to crack something, and that's what it be. And even when you're around them, that's the culture that they cultivate. That's how chicks end up getting trained and stuff like that. Gangbang for the, people who don't understand the lingo. And meanwhile, these chicks be head over heels over these guys. But meanwhile, the dudes that actually be liking these chicks want to do the affectionate stuff and they resent these guys. So with that being said, you should know how inaffectionate or unaffectionate the dudes in the street is. And that is cultivated behavior.
After being in such a hostile environment for so long, filled with drugs, criminals, and all sorts of criminal activities, how do you expect these people to act? Notice how I said people, because sometimes you guys forget that black men are people too. And I'm not trying to get on here and bash black women, because most of the time they do defend black men. But in this one instance, the fact that black women were the ones that were bashing black men, even though they do the same thing when it comes to their hair. For example, if you know any black women, you know that they have a really big boundary when it comes to people touching their hair, and they have every right to have that boundary. So why can't black men have a similar boundary with their personal space? Yes, we might have our walls up due to the PTSD from all the things that we've experienced, but at the end of the day, we're human as well. And I mean, let's be honest, that guy was a complete stranger. Yeah, they might have been a little rude in how they replied to him, but coming from the places that a lot of black men come from, doing something like that, it's as if you're playing in my face. And honestly, some of y'all out here getting too comfortable. Y'all need to go watch that Jeffrey Dahmer series on Netflix, because he definitely would have got some of y'all. But nah, on a serious note though, and this might seem like a crazy comparison to some people, but imagine a soldier that just came back from war and you approach them trying to touch them or do any sort of thing that makes them feel uncomfortable. Would you blame them if they have a super defensive reaction? Most likely not, because they just came back from a super hostile environment. And to a degree, that's what life is like for a lot of young black boys. They never get the chance to go into therapy and deal with all the PTSD they acquired growing up. For a lot of us, we just get bigger, but we don't actually mentally mature because there's nothing to cultivate us in that way. I remember seeing a clip of a popular rapper named G Herbo when he talked about going to therapy and working through the traumas that he experienced at a young age growing up in Chicago and all the positive effects he saw from that experience. He even has an album called PTSD where he goes into detail about his experiences.
The fuck is on me? You know what I'm saying? In front of the world crying. What the fuck you want to do something to my little brother for, gang? You wanted to do something to me. I know I'm not responsible because I can't live life. Nothing I do. If I get a Grammy, an Oscar, I must think about my little brother, gang. I ain't gonna lie to you. My life can't be complete without him. I ain't gonna lie to you. It don't feel complete. It's never gonna feel complete without him. That's the truth.
Every day I'm dealing with this trauma. Every day I just been like drinking or doing something to just get my mind off it. I ain't never really left out the house ever in my life and felt like something can't happen to me.
Do y'all realize what he just said? He said he's never left the house without feeling like something could happen to him.
It's really ironic I used a clip to show, affectionate black men using G Herbo earlier in the video, and he used a clip to basically show, G Herbo having trauma and stuff like that. And the thing is, he decided to work through it. But this is another thing as well. Being that he's rich, he has the resources to work through it. I know you go, oh man, it don't take you to be a millionaire to get therapy. It doesn't, but let's not act like therapy don't cost money.
That means he's always on guard. He's always fearing for his life. He has no peace of mind. And growing up in the hood, that's how you're forced to conduct yourself. So imagine someone with that type of mentality and thought process having a stranger come up to them trying to invade their personal space. Is their reaction still so shocking to you? And luckily G Herbo takes therapy, but therapy isn't some sort of magical cure that just makes you alright overnight. And it's also something that people in the hood don't really have access to, whether it's due to financial reasons or even the stigma that people place behind therapy. This whole idea that you gotta be this emotionless, super macho guy that thugs it out, that's just a few of the reasons why therapy isn't prevalent in the hood.
Lived in anxiety and depression my entire career. Literally. Depression off of the shit that I've been through that shaped me into the man and the way I think.
Did you know you were depressed? Or you didn't know what to call it?
Yeah, I didn't really know what to call it for real. And then when I learned about like mental health and depression and anxiety and stuff, and I started to like go to therapy and get the help that I needed too. But
like one thing that I respect about you majorly, because you making it, by you being the rapper that you are, you making it real cool for our people to understand it's cool to go to therapy.
The album's name is PTSD. How did you come up with the concept and title for this project?
Really acknowledging myself that I have PTSD and with really being clinically diagnosed with PTSD and trying to spread awareness on the fact that people don't really realize that they have PTSD.
See, I'm gonna tell you something about the hood that, like, if you're not from there, you may not realize, you know, which even black women, right, they from the hood and they still may not realize this because, and this is why I say they may not realize this, because they will get with a drug dealer and like just not really assess the risk. They be too blind to the attraction that they have for them. And they never really assess the risk. We won't go deep on that, but this is what I need to tell you about the hood. Basically, even if you're a regular guy, even if you're a regular Yu-Gi-Oh card playing nerd, and you're still gonna be in environments with these guys. You're gonna be in high school, you're gonna grow up with some of these people, you're gonna see them be regular, and then you're gonna see some of them turn over and stuff like that. Some of them may, you know, just look at you as a mark, and they may try and rob you in the future just because they know you and they know that you're not gonna do nothing. It's hard to go through life in the hood and not get into a fight. It's funny because I've met people who have never been in a fight in their life once I started working with white people. And I'm sure there's probably some black people somewhere that have never been in a fight in their life, but that shocked the fuck out of me because I'm not super rough, tough man or no shit like that, but I just can't fathom a life where you don't get into fights. Like I can as an adult, but I'm talking about growing up. Even when you get to like 20, like 20, it should begin to like slow down and mature, and you should be able to like, you know, you can pick where you're at kind of now. But when you're growing up, you have to be in environments with these disagreeable, wild motherfuckers who just be so disrespectful and et cetera, et cetera. But again, you might just like to play basketball, even though you play Yu-Gi-Oh! Card shit. You might just like to go to the park. Shit, what do everybody in the hood do? Go to convenience stores, corner stores, bodegas if you're in New York. Go to gas stations if you're in like, you know, other places, because that's not a big thing in New York. That's like a Midwest, down south thing. If you in LA, you like to go to the swap meet, the mall, you know, the Slauson Mall or whatever. Slauson Super Mall. But listen, who's gonna be there when you're going to get like, you know, you just going to shop for regular shit, or you might be school shopping for your kids or whatever. The thugs is gonna be there. Thugs is gonna be there. And this is the thing. You don't even have to be in the situation. You know, in LA, yeah, somebody might check you, like where you from, all this stuff, and they might be trying to press you on some gangbanging shit. Sometimes you get into different interactions with these dudes for whatever reason. You gotta say, excuse me, at the gas station. But this is the main point. It can pop off and you don't gotta have nothing to do with it, and you could still get hit. That's what it is. So you could be somewhere, shootout happen, you got to start ducking. You was just trying to get some gas. You was just trying to get a 4-for-4 box. You was just trying to, you know, get some chicken wings. You was just trying to get a soda. And now shots is ringing off and you got to duck and stuff like that. Or you just trying to, you know, get whatever, and something like, you know, Cass is like, hey, come here. You never seen these dudes, and you know, XYZ, because I done heard stories like this in my own city and stuff like that. And like, you know, you like, no, because, and then motherfuckers start walking towards you, you start trying to run, they start chasing you. And you're a regular guy. You're not into shit. Shit, I did a video about respect the other day. Like, you know, you get disrespected by somebody, the way a lot of people go about it, depending on what it is. If it goes past a certain boundary, like, it just automatically, they go physical. Motherfuckers will hit the wrong person. They'll hit a killer. They'll hit like a drug, like the wrong drug dealer, whatever, a shooter. They might not know that that guy's a shooter. But guess what? Now he want to shoot you. Now he want to kill you. Now you getting shot. So when you just think about these things that I'm saying, you don't have to be into anything. You could live your life however you want to live it and just be fine. But you still have to be, to some degree, mentally prepared for what could happen and what decision, and you got to be prepared to make the right decisions when things happen. Because you could be working at the dollar store and a motherfucker decide to come in and rob it and they want to pistol whip you and stuff like that. And listen, when I say that, I'm in a place with $1 million stores. They got them in the suburbs. They got them in the surrounding townships. They got them all through the city. And they got some deep in the hood. Guess where the ones are where people get shot for no reason because the shooter is a dickhead, or the clerk gets pistol whipped, or, you know, they got to put up bulletproof windows at the drive-thru for the food spot and stuff like that. It's going to be in the depths of the hood. And I'm trying to paint this picture to where it's like, you got to understand this is the type of shit that black people deal with in these environments all the time. And if you have grown up, I'm talking about from 0 to 22, 25, you have to know and learn and adapt to how to fucking maneuver through this shit. So when you see these guys at the top video, and it's like, those guys are definitely from the hood. They might not even be thugs. But like when we talk about just like, so those guys that are going through all that have had to shape themselves into this, like we done went through this whole video. So you done got a taste of it. And I even laid all this shit out. You got a taste of it. Those are supposed to be the guys that just automatically open up to hug a fucking stranger. Those are supposed to be, and it's just fragile masculinity and homophobia. That's what you think it is? Are you a fucking idiot? Well, of course you are, but let's continue the video. And when I say you, I'm talking about the people who were on Twitter saying this stupid shit.
All right, the video did get a little bit gloomy, but honestly, I can't really blame them for how they reacted. And not to make this about race or anything, but there's literally videos online of white people doing the same thing, if not worse. Is that clip not crazy to y'all? Her skipping over all the black kids to hug the white kids? The little black girl literally had her arms out like this and she gonna pat her on the shoulder? Yo, what?
See, that's crazy, but this is the thing. I'm not on Twitter, so it's possible the fact that he even seen that video, that there was some controversy behind it or some pushback or backlash behind it. It's different than the video that we watched at the top, because that guy is going around asking for hugs. This woman is going out proactively giving out hugs to the kids, and the kids want the hugs. So it's a little different, but I'm going to just say this about that. She's clearly at an institution where they're teaching and stuff like that. I don't want her around them kids, I'm going to be honest, because if you're doing shit like that, there's clearly some weird type of bias, and you don't need to be around those kids if you're going to have that going on.
I'm sorry, but if you have the stomach to be racist towards little kids who are innocent, yeah, you're just a horrible individual. All right, for real this time, I'll stop with the negativity. To switch it off to a more wholesome note, here's the same content creator getting a hug from a black man just a few videos prior.
I've had a bad day. Can I have a hug? Come on, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. Love, man. Love.
And notice how in these clips, the people who didn't want to get hugged were younger black men. And then we have this older black man who's okay with receiving a hug. Now, I'm not trying to jump to conclusions, but I definitely feel like it might be because he's had more time to work on his emotions and develop as a person. For all we know, if he was met with that same situation when he was younger, he might have had the same reaction as those other guys. And now I'm not saying that's going to be the case with every older black man, but that was definitely the case in this video. And for these next clips, we just have black men being very wholesome, because I'm not gonna let y'all keep painting us in a bad light.
Excuse me, guys. Excuse me. I've had a bad day. Can I have a group hug? Come on, man. Oh, man. Thank you.
And those were Jamaican men. You know, the same Jamaican men that people say have fragile masculinity. Damn, bro, chill. You don't gotta be moving like the Hulk.
Thank you. God bless you guys.
Now, I'm gonna say a few things to wrap the video up. The first thing is, even though I said a bunch of stuff about black people from the hood, you gotta understand those are generalizations. We are not a monolith. So I'm sure that there are people from the hood who just wouldn't have a problem giving somebody a hug. You know, you had the one dude with the chain on around the end. I'm not gonna lie. Just from the aesthetic and the look that he had, I was surprised that that actually happened. Second thing is, not all black people are from the hood. You heard dude mention that people was Jamaican. Those aren't even what I would consider black Americans. We're not gonna get into diaspora or nothing like that, but you know, the FBA, which is Foundational Black Americans, people who are descendants of slaves, Jamaicans aren't that, but he did mention them because of homophobia and things like that. But this is the last thing I'm gonna say. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, man. I'm not hugging no stranger. And the reason I'm not hugging a stranger is because some motherfuckers be stinky. Some motherfuckers be having that za on them, man. They be having that fucking weed smell and shit. Some people, you just don't know where they've been. And I would rather just keep my personal space and and even then, you know, like a motherfucker could have been doing meth, man. You never know, man. You never know. So I'm like, I'd rather just keep my personal space. That's me. So with that being said, that's the video for today, man. Let me know your thoughts. I'm gone.